ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side three is good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome into the Wednesday, February 6th edition. The Drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear from Huntington High head football coach Billy Seals about the signing of Huntington High offensive lineman Darnell Wright. Where'd he go today? Big event going on at Huntington High to announce where this young man is going, so we'll find out from Billy later on and get his reaction. I know there was a full court press on him late. The entire coaching staff of West Virginia University made a visit, try to get a late play on him. Where'd he end up going? Billy's going to talk to us about that when we have him on the program later on. Also, we're going to hear from Doc Holliday, Marshall University's football coach. Today's a big day, of course, for colleges across the country, not just these young men, but for the fan bases. Everybody is optimistic about the future today with all the new kids that are going to come on campus and be a part of your respective football team, and that includes Marshall. So we're going to hear from Doc a little bit later on, kind of find out where the Thundering Herd lands. Projections show this to be the number one signing class in Conference USA. So I know that's got to make Doc Holliday and the rest of the coaching staff pretty happy and pretty pleased with their efforts. So we'll hear from Doc a little bit later on. I'm just getting back from Marshall where he spoke to the media earlier. So we'll have that for you in a few minutes. But before we do that, Jason Toy is going to join us now. He's, of course, the voice of the Cabell Midland Knights on Friday Night Football. And he had a chance to catch up with Levi Kessler, their outstanding offensive lineman. And we're going to find out where Levi decided to go to school. Here's Jason.
All right, thanks a lot, Paul. You know, it is National Signing Day today for high school athletes all across the country. And right here in the Tri-State, we've had a lot of great signees from Huntington High to Spring Valley to Hurricane. Cabell Midland's had their good choice of selections as well with some of the players that they have. And that offensive line for Cabell Midland over the last couple of years has produced some pretty good numbers when it comes to running backs. And one of those guys in the offensive line is Levi Kessler, who is joining us now. And Levi, I tell you what, you look at the last couple of years for you guys on that offensive line and the running backs that you had behind you that you're opening up holes for. You guys did a heck of a job.
Thank you. Blocking for him made it a whole lot easier.
Of course, this past year was Ivan. You had other guys before that as well, and you got a lot of young guys that were able to work in to the fray this year as well to kind of get those numbers built up. But for you guys in that offensive line, you and I talked off the air before. This is kind of like a brotherhood, and you guys have been together for a long time.
Yes, sir. We're all like best friends. So, we are best friends. Hang out all the time. It's always fun just being around them.
Well, now today is the day where folks decide where they're going to be spending the next 4 years for their academic career in college and play some football as well. And you guys have been together for a long time now. You'll start going your separate ways. So today was a big day for you, Levi. Where are you signing? Where are you going?
West Virginia Wesleyan.
Why did you pick Wesleyan?
I felt a connection up there. I felt like it was more home up there. And everybody treated me nice up there, and I just can't wait to get up there and start playing.
And a strong academic side of things, too, there at Wesleyan.
Yes, sir. Very academic-based school.
Where are you going to study when you get there?
I'm going to be a civil engineer.
Oh, wow. That's great. Congratulations on that. Is it an opportunity, you think, that you might get some playing time as a freshman?
Hopefully. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to try my best, but, nothing's guaranteed.
Levi Kessler's hanging out with us here from Cabell Midland High School, signing with West Virginia Wesleyan today. And, when we talked about that offensive line, you got Logan that's going to be going to Logan Osborne going to Marshall, and Nevin Ferguson, I think, Fairmont State for him. You guys got guys going everywhere.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty special. Shows how much emphasis you guys put in the offensive line there. And, of course, when you have a former offensive line as a head coach, that lineman, that's kind of puts a lot into it.
Oh, yeah. He pushes us a lot.
Coach Luke Sammons is the head coach of Cabell Midland, for folks out there that don't know, former offensive lineman at Marshall and a legend in the Ravenswood area where he grew up as well. But one thing with Luke, I know, is the emphasis for you guys off the field in the weight room as well. And I know that's had to be a big key for you guys.
Yes, sir. Football at Cabell Midland, it's just not a few months of the year kind of thing. It's all year round.
Levi Kessler's here with us. Levi, before I let you go here, like I said, it's been a big day for signings all across the area, and we had some players that are going to Division I, some going to Division II. You're going to West Virginia Wesleyan. What is it about this part of the state now that it's starting to get a lot more recognition, I guess, for players going on to the next level?
We're just getting recognized a lot more. There's a lot more size around here than there used to be, and we're just football's increasing a lot in this area, and everybody's starting to notice it.
Levi, congratulations, bud. Best of luck at Wesleyan. I know folks back here in the Tri-State area will keep an eye on you and see what's going on with you up north.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Paul. Levi Kessler from Cabell Midland High School. He is one of several players from Cabell Midland that signed their letters of intent today to play college football. It's been a big day, not only at Midland, Huntington High, Spring Valley, and elsewhere here across the tri-state area. Paul?
All right, Jason, thanks. Appreciate that. When we come back from break, we're going to hear from Doc Holliday. We'll get his thoughts on the signing class with Marshall University later on. We'll hear from Billy Seals, the head coach of the Huntington Highlanders. We'll find out where Darnell Wright signed. Was it Tennessee? Was it West Virginia? Was it someplace completely different? We'll find out when we continue with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
To The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the signing day edition of The Drive. Your host, Paul Swann, right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So, earlier today at Huntington High School, big signing. It was televised on ESPN as well. Everybody wants to know where Darnell Wright is going. Well, we know finally he has made his decision, and Darnell revealed his pick to the nation on ESPN.
I'm going to be continuing my academic and football career at the University of...
By the way, that zipper's sound was him revealing the university he was attending, and that's Tennessee. He's going to be playing football for the Vols. So he explains to the audience why he picked Tennessee.
I just felt as though it was a good fit for me, not just through football, but through everything academically. I had a good relationship with all the coaches. All the people, they treated me well, and they treated me as a real person.
So in this next cut we're going to hear from Darnell. Darnell's looking forward to joining another five-star tackle who's on that line at Tennessee.
Yeah, Wanye's the homie. I don't know, we don't really talk about much in terms to playing together. We just kind of kick it as homies, so I don't know.
So he gets to join Wanye Morris. Wright is number 5 on the ESPN 300. Morris is number 9 on the ESPN 300. So both committed to Tennessee. Tennessee's loading up. I know Billy Seals has got to be happy for that young man, and we're going to hear from Billy a little bit later on. Here in a few minutes as well, we're going to hear from Doc Holliday. I've got that audio being sent over as we speak to our producer, Gabriel Sellers, who is with us today, so he's going to check his email. It's downloading. Doc had a lot to say. Doc went for about 15 minutes. So I tell you what we're going to do to make this happen for everybody and facilitate this a lot better. We'll take our next break. When we come back, we'll hear from Doc Holliday. We'll get his thoughts on today's signing class when we continue with this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Wednesday, February 6th edition. Paul Swann, Gabriel Sellers, our producer. Later on, we'll hear from Billy Seals. He will tell us about Darnell Wright and all the other kids at Huntington High, where they're going today. And I'm sure he's excited, so we'll hear from him a little bit later on. But first, Doc Holliday, he spoke to the media not that long ago, just got back a few minutes ago, so I've got it all ready to go. Our producer has been working nonstop to bring you what we've got from Doc Holliday. And, of course, Doc, over the years, maybe wasn't as big of a fan of the early signing period. Now he's grown to like it a lot more. He'll explain as we get into his recruiting class. Picked the top recruiting class in Conference USA. Here's Doc Holliday addressing the media on today's signees and, of course, the early signing period as well.
All right, I just, before you start here, just like to take the opportunity to, of course, thank the staff and brought Mike Trier up here with me, who kind of headed this recruiting thing up. But there's a lot of work that goes in, to recruiting a class from Mike Hamrick showing up on Saturdays to the academic people to the equipment guys and everything that goes into it. So I thought our guys did a great job. Thought we targeted the right guys and came away with a class that we're excited about. Thought we met our needs, and looking forward to getting these guys on campus and coaching them up. So if anybody's got any questions for Mike here at the end, I'll let him stay here for a few minutes. But for a young coach, did a tremendous job and got this thing organized the way it should be.
The December signing period, does that allow you, once that's done, to sort of be like, okay, this is where we're at, these are our needs going forward? Because it seemed like D-line was a priority going into today.
Yeah. I think what happens with that early signing period, and to be honest, we signed more this year early than we've did the year prior to that, and not particularly planning for that to happen because I like to keep because normally once that early signing period is over, there's a whole new pool of players that are out there, which is kind of what happened a little bit with us, at this point this year as well. But there's no doubt that, number one, you know who you have by that early signing period, and you can focus and lock in on, the two defensive linemen. We had to go get a defensive lineman, had to go get a couple other guys, of need. And also when you get to that point too, you look at where you are and you say, okay, let's just take the best possible player we can get at maybe one on offense, one on defense. And with the way things are right now with this crazy transfer portal and everything that's going on out there, we've kept a couple offers aside, to see what happens in the next 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 2 months, because you're sure with what's happening out there right now, you don't want to be, stuck with not being able to, because you have to have an offer now in order to take a kid. And so we have a couple we've put aside, and we'll see where they end up going.
Doc, does it take a little stress off what used to be a pretty frenetic day for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just we got our workout in this morning with our kids, and I think we signed 5 guys or 4 guys, Mike, whatever that was. And so to answer your question, yeah, I mean, normally you're sitting waiting around for 24, 25. The old fax machines don't work half the time to get in, but now it's emails and scans and all things are a lot better. But just to have to deal with 4 or 5 kids, at this point, then that's a good thing.
On the flip side of that, was there a stress factor to that falling right in the middle of bowl week for you?
I don't think it really was. I mean, I think it seems like those early signing kids are all locked in. If they're going to go and sign early, they're locked into where they're going and ready to go. The ones you have issues with are the ones that don't sign, and you have to chase them around for another 4 weeks. And normally those guys that don't sign early are guys that may change their mind or do that type of thing anyway. But the early signing, of course that's the first time we've had to do it, at a bowl site. But I thought it went smooth. I thought there were no surprises, and we ended up getting who we thought we would get. So I thought it worked out well. But the thing that's happened to us a little bit, not just us, but it's going to happen to just about anybody in our league, or our bowl games are all early. You look at the bowl tie-ins, they're always anywhere from the 16th of December to the 20th of December, so they're all in that block right there. So what happens to you with preparation for the bowl, you lose, you got about a 3-week window there to recruit, but 2 of those weeks are in preparation or at the bowl site. So you got about 3 or 4 days to get out and get your recruiting done, and that thing goes dead, and you don't start back. And I think this year it was January the 14th, I think it was, were we able to get back out, and then you got 3 weeks to try to, finish things up. So it's changed things a little bit, but I thought we adjusted well to it. And
I feel like the kids like it better to have that early opportunity to lock it in.
I think so. I think they know too, and I think, like I say, I think I was totally against it, to be honest. And after being a part of it for 2 years now, I kind of like it, because you know exactly what you have and where you need to go the next 3 weeks to get things done.
Somebody that stands out from today, Darnell Wright, was committed to Arkansas.
Yeah.
What was the process with him, and how did you all, you look at some of his offers, what did you all do to get him here?
Well, Pep has just done a great job of working his area down there, and he was committed to Arkansas and was supposed to go to Maryland. When Loxley got the job, Maryland was also recruiting him, and were able to get him in on a visit. And if you get a kid on campus, you got a shot, with him. So we were able to, and what happens is, as well as a lot of those kids that don't sign early, you look at a lot of those schools out there right now, they're 90 to 95% full on that early signing period. And so there's not a lot of scholarships left, for those guys at the end. So you get some guys like him that we end up getting that are really, really good players, because of it. So, you got to be able, where we are at this point, you got to be able to play both ends. Hopefully do a good job with your early stuff, but have some scholarships set aside for the Dante Walkers and some of those guys that end up getting at the end of the day.
Well, do people that back end side of it. Everybody knows that you all go out and recruit, but it's like Mike and those guys are also trying to stay on top of guys that might have been targets elsewhere and keep them with the contacts that you all got within the coaching profession for people that might be able to fit your program.
Well, there's no question. Like I say, you target certain guys, and our numbers. We're not having any issue with being at 85. We were at 84, I think, a year ago. We'll be at 85 again this year, and so, our numbers are good and they're in good shape right now. So, like as kids, we up to this point we haven't lost like one kid in the portal or whatever, which that's a good thing when you look around the country what's going on.
Do you evaluate them now as if guys that could help you right away, or is that just something you do it with the course of spring ball and everything?
I think it's you got some kids here early, a couple of linebackers. Linebackers it was a need for us, and we got a couple of young linebackers that are here that will have the opportunity to go through the workout part of it in spring ball, which gives them an edge. And we got a D lineman in here early that we felt like we needed a couple older kids. With the loss of B and Malik and those guys up front, we brought in a couple of JUCOs at D line. It gives us some help inside. One of them's already on campus, and of course one of them will be here in May. So. I think there's no doubt. It's hard for it's hard, and it changed a little bit. That also changed a little bit a year ago, Keith, with being able to play those guys 4 games. I think there was 5 to 6 kids that we played, 3 to 4 games that helped us there towards the end when our depth became an issue, and that's a good thing. So some of these young freshmen, by being here in the summer, can have the opportunity to help you, especially on special teams. And then, we targeted some older guys, and we're still looking. We'd like to come up somehow with another linebacker here or there to finish this thing up. So we're still recruiting, will not stop.
You look at Carpenter and Johnson, the two JUCO guys that you added today on the D line, 2 guys with 2 years of eligibility left. How important was that need to get guys that have already been through it and that can help immediately, even though you knew that you need that as a 4-year need as well?
Well, as long as you can't. It's hard for it. Really hard for a freshman to come in and play on the D line or the O line for that matter, and so because it's such a physical mismatch up there with some of those guys. So we went out and had to try to find a couple older guys that played at the junior college level, and we like the 2 guys we've got a lot. One's close to 280, 290, and the other one's already up to 270. He's been here 3 weeks or whatever he's been here, so he's going to be a big man someday. So excited about the guys, the ones that are here, and again looking forward to the guys getting in here, and hopefully we can get the other one here early on in May, so we have him here for at least a couple months this summer.
How about the 2 quarterbacks that you got in the early period?
Yeah, like them both. Like them. Grant Wells is very underestimated as an athlete. I mean, he's really a good athlete. He runs extremely well. I think he ran 4.5 in our camp. Got tremendous vertical. He's a Division I punter. I mean, he's a guy that does a great job punting the football, and he's just a lot more athletic than people think he is. We started recruiting him as a 9th grader when he was in our camps, and makes all the throws, and excited about him. Maurice Underwood weighs about what Cato weighed when he came in, which was about $150, but he's a lot taller. He's about 6'2", 6'3", but he can make all the throws. Comes from a tough situation like Cato did down in Miami, and has overcome a lot of adversity, and he's similar to that. I mean, he's a talented guy that's just raw, and we're excited about him. He played it, he's just like Cato and those guys played at extremely high level of football down there. So he's been in it and likes to play as Cato did, and we're excited about him as well.
That front 7, front 8 guys for you defensively, it seemed like linebackers were the focal point of the December period, and D-line with this later period. Yeah. How important was it to replenish after you all did have some pretty extensive losses?
Well, we did. Had the secondary course was back intact, and Malik made the decision to go early. So we're still relatively got everybody back there with the exception of Malik. The corners are back intact, and we got Drayton, who's played an awful lot of football, Nazi and Kennard King's coming along. So we had to get that linebacker position. You've got Beckett, who's really thinks a solid player that hadn't played for us, but he'll be there, of course, in the spring. Mario Cobb's an all-conference player, I think, and he's back. So we just needed to get some. Yuli's turn now. I mean, he's got to grow up and go play. It's sometimes when kids like Yuli, when it's actually their turn and those guys are gone, then they react and go play well. So, but we need more bodies there. So that's why we brought in the number that we have, and like I say, fortunately, 2 of those guys are on campus, and and we're still looking to see if we can. We'd like to get one more older linebacker somehow, whether it be a transfer or a JUCO guy on sometime before we start summer ball.
How's the openness of the transfer portal sort of changed the game for you all?
Say it again now.
How's the openness of the transfer portal? I mean, it's pretty much out there. It's not a guessing game anymore.
No, I mean you just monitor it. You know who it is. I mean, if there's a guy out, and you know what, you don't have to jump through hoops to try to get permission and all that. If they're in the portal, you can pick up the phone and make contact with them. So. It's eliminated a lot of steps, and I don't know if it's, I worry a little about, to be honest with you, as a coach, I worry about it. I mean, I just, you got kids, there's 800 or 900 guys in that portal. I mean, come on. I mean, what message are we sending out there? I mean, get a guy that's in a portal, and why am I, well, I didn't want to compete for the job in the spring. I mean, the biggest thing that football and athletics in general teaches overcome adversity and fighting for what you get and all that kind of thing, and for guys just to be able to pick up and leave at the drop of a hat because they don't like a coach or a decision that was made and all that. I'm not sure we're sending the right message. So it's like anything else. You got to be careful what you ask for sometimes, and it's upon us and as coaches, and we're going to do everything we can to take advantage of it. I mean, we're going to, if there's guys on there, we're going to monitor it and know who they are, and if we know somebody or we think we can find somebody that can help us, then we're going to try to take advantage of it the best we can.
It's almost like you all have to do your due diligence with JUCO kids and make sure that the mindset's right, things like that. Is it a similar deal with the transfer portal? You want to make sure that a kid's going to be bought into your program, is not just kind of mentally weak.
Well, there's always a reason kids transfer. I mean, some good and some bad. I mean, there's no doubt that when a kid goes into that portal, you need to, as a coach, you better find out what they're all about and why they're transferring, and I mean, are they running from something, and that type of thing. So yeah, we'll, just like any kid that we recruit, we'll investigate and find out what's going on and make phone calls and see why they're in there, for what reason, and see if we're still interested.
Do you still look at those recruiting rankings? You guys look at those that matter? I know you've always kind of poo-pooed them in the past.
Yeah, I say all the time, I don't get too concerned with stars. They're all 5 stars to us, and I know there's a lot of coaches been fired out there that sign a bunch of 5 stars every year and can't win a damn game, So I think at the end of the day, it's, you get guys that are tough and love football and have the ability to play, and you'll win a bunch of games with guys like that. Because if they're tough, I'll fix everything else, and they love football, I can still fix everything else. But there's a lot of 5 stars out there that aren't very tough, that don't like football, and they play like 1 stars when you get them on campus, or no stars. So, I think that's overrated, but I know it's good for the media and good for the fans and all that type of thing. But at the end of the day, you turn the film on and watch them go play. Can they play the game? Awful lot. I mean, I don't know where it came from, but that Julia guy, the Super Bowl Edelman, what was he, a no-star? I mean, there's a lot of guys out there. You look at all those guys in the Super Bowl, how many of them were 1 and 2 stars or no stars? And, find a way to go win a Super Bowl or go be the Super Bowl MVP. I don't know what he was, but he sure didn't have a whole lot of stars by his name when he signed out of high school.
Somebody that you all got late in December that wasn't expected and sort of came late was Amir Richardson. And kid, how, in-state receivers have kind of been pretty good to this place over the years. How excited are you all to get him in and work with him?
Well, I coached his dad. I mean, I know what kind of kid he is. I know he comes from a tremendous family. He's a talented guy. He's long and can run, and has all the intangibles to be a great player. So we're really excited to have him, and we need another guy to come in and step up, and he'll get the opportunity to do that.
With wide receivers in mind, you also grabbed Brock Thompson. I know Coach Cramsey really high on him. Dallas Baker got him out of Fork Union. He's a guy that flies around the field real fast.
Yeah, we've had him camp, and he was a guy that came to camp, and you can tell a lot about kids in camp. You get a chance to watch them run and catch and do all those things, and there's no doubt he's really went to Fork Union. Dad, I guess, was 10 years in the majors, won the World Series at one point. Dad's a tremendous athlete. Brother plays basketball, I think, in some pro league somewhere. So, comes from an athletic family, competes his tail. I mean, just a little bit he's been around here. You watch him, he competes and gets after it, and he's got that look in his eye. What a big time athlete has. He probably got that from his dad and his family. But we like him a lot. And glad that with him and Amir, that gives us 2, good gets, and got a couple guys, in the weight room that we'll see here in May that we're excited about.
Doc Holliday earlier this afternoon at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, addressing the media on today's signing class. When we come back, we're going to talk to Huntington High head football coach, the one and only Billy Seals. He's had a busy day. He's going to join us to go over some of the signings happening for the Huntington Highlanders. That's all when we continue with this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Buckle up. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Wednesday, February 6th edition. Paul Swann, your host. You know, it's a special day. I got Gabriel Sellers in studio as our producer. I want to welcome to the program now a very busy man, the head coach of the Huntington Highlanders, Billy Seals. And Coach, it's signing day. That means we're all running over the planet, trying to take care of everything. I'm at Marshall. I only know one thing, that Darnell Wright went to Tennessee. We all knew that. I mean, maybe we didn't know that, but we kind of knew that. How excited is he? How excited are you for that young man?
Well, I think, Darnell's really, really excited that the process is over, to be honest with you. Unless you've been through that process before, you don't understand the amount of time and the aggravation and the phone calls and the media calling you, that it gets a little much for a 17, 18-year-old kid. So I know that, he's the last couple of days, he's been as happy as I've seen him. And I think it all comes back to, he knew where he wanted to go a couple of days ago, and that the process was over for him. So he's excited for the next step.
What was that moment, do you think he's finally locked it down? Because he was highly sought after. As you mentioned, the process for someone like that's got to be excruciating because, you get a full court press from schools. West Virginia comes down, and sure, that's exciting, and it's great that everybody wants you. But what was just that moment where he said, okay, I've decided, I'm done with this process. This is where I want to go. What was it, you think?
Well, and I'll give Coach Brown and the West Virginia staff a lot of credit. They put on a full court press. They stepped on the gas pedal and really went after Darnell. And, it made Darnell do some thinking. But I really think the last official visit down to Tennessee last weekend kind of sealed the deal for him. And, I think that's where he was leaning towards anyways. And I think last weekend's trip just kind of cemented that for him.
Now, I've been catching up here. I was at Marshall, so I couldn't come out there to see everything. So catch me up. You had other young men today who are going to continue their football careers, and they've got some great opportunities ahead of them. If you would, where are the majority of your kids that you know of are going? Because you had an event earlier today. So where are your kids going? Catch me up.
Yeah, including Darnell, we had 5 guys signed today. Christian Hanna is going to, who was our starting center the last couple of years, is going to Glenville State to play for Rick Trickett, who's now coaching the offensive line up there. And, Coach Trickett's a legend in college football, regarded as one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. He's been with Nick Saban at LSU. He's been with Jimbo Fisher at Florida State. He's been all over the country coaching for many, many years. So, Christian's excited about his opportunity at Glenville State. Bryce Damas is joining a former Highlander, Jaden Hayes, who's, a really special player that we had, and Bryce is too. Bryce is going to Garden City Community College in Kansas, where Jaden is now at. And, going to continue to develop, and I fully expect Bryce Damas a year from now. We're talking about Bryce signing with a Division I school. And so that was his goal and aspirations. And so he's taken the JUCO avenue. None of that was based on grades. He was a full qualifier. Just felt like it was his best opportunity to get to the Division I level. He had some FCS offers, but just wasn't really didn't feel real good about those schools, and so he kind of decided to go the junior college route. Ty Wilcoxon, a running back, signed at Marshall. He signed as a preferred walk-on. Really think he would have been a scholarship kid at a lot of programs without the injury mid-season. So he'll get right in there. He's a tough, good football player, and he's a kid that's going to find his way to the field. And then Max Howell. Max Howell started at right tackle for us the last 2 years. Learned a lot from Billy Ross, and Max signed at East Tennessee State University down in Johnson City, Tennessee, at the FCS level. So we're really happy for those 5 guys and we're going to have 2 or 3 more guys in the next couple of weeks.
Just as a coach, you spend so much time with these young men. What's it mean to you just to see how they've grown and where they're going to continue their careers?
Well, it's very rewarding. I mean, that's why you get into coaching is try to make a difference in young men's lives. And, you know, you look at these 5 guys that got an opportunity, first and foremost, to get a college education paid for. And second of all, they get to continue to play college football or get the opportunity to play college football. And, you know, they all 5 love the game. They love the competitive part of the game. And, you know, whatever way that we can get young men an opportunity to get a college degree is the most important thing. And I'd say if you look at Huntington High School, we've put out as probably more or as much as anyone else in the state of West Virginia, putting out more kids in college right now. So you know, that's very rewarding for our staff.
Why are you so successful? You have been able to help these young men not only grow as student athletes, as people. You've been able to get them the exposure they need to further their careers. You know, just what is it? What's Huntington High doing? What is so special about the Highlanders that's making opportunities happen more for these kids?
No, first of all, we got good players. I mean, that's first and foremost. We got a lot of good players in our program, and you know, I think the most important thing is our coaching staff is relentless on getting in contact with coaches, getting film out, building relationships with schools that, you know, schools know if they come into Huntington High School that they're going to get the truth about our kids. And I think that the colleges and the college coaches respect us for that. And I think they understand that, you know, that we're going to be honest about our kids, what they can and cannot do, and whether they're a fit or not. And I think they appreciate the honesty.
Billy Seals, our guest, head coach of the Huntington Highlanders. So now that you've got this day over with and you've got a couple more coming, you know, do you get a break? I know it starts back up for you soon, and the process just continues and continues, not just the next crop of kids coming through, but the next season for you as well. So do you get a break, maybe a day tomorrow?
We were talking about that, to be honest with you. You know, obviously we're already started in our all-season program in December, and our kids are working really hard to continue to stay as one of the elite programs in the state. We got a lot of work to do, lost a lot of good football players this year, but I have the utmost confidence in our kids that are returning and our kids that are coming into our program that, you know, we're going to be the same old Huntington High School. And I'm not sure how much of a break I'll get with the recruiting process. You know, it's funny today, I talked to a guy that runs 24/7 Sports, that is a scouting service, and they just said, "Hey, Coach, I got news for you. I know Darnell and all the other guys' recruitment's over now, but I got a sneaky suspicion in about 3 weeks, your phone's going to be blowing up again." And they were talking about guys like Terrence Pankey and Tajon Blackwell and Chris Brown and Brockton Blair and all those guys that we got returning that are going to be seniors next year. So it's never-ending cycle, but very rewarding when you have a day like we had today and seeing 5 guys, you know, accomplish one of their major goals.
How do you keep these kids humble? Or is it just the quality of kid you've got today that are keeping themselves humble? Because there's so many distractions with the recruiting process, and of course the excitement behind these young men, the newfound fame. They haven't even played it down yet at these universities, but people are excited for them. So how do you keep these kids straight? How do you keep these kids focused on the process and just, you know, the direction they need to be with all these outside influences and distractions?
Well, the number one thing we tell our kids is you play for Huntington High School right now. All those other schools, you're going to have your time with them, and your focus needs to be on you being the best player you can be for Huntington High School right now. And our kids buy into that. They understand that the purest form of athletics is high school football. You get to college, it's a job. And so, you know, they enjoy the camaraderie with their teammates and the coaching staff. And, you know, again, I can't tell you how great our kids are. We have a fabulous school and a fabulous administration and fabulous players. And so all the credit goes to them. They're very humble. And so you can look at a kid like Darnell, who is one of the most humble kids I've ever been around in my life. And he didn't want to talk about himself, didn't want to talk about recruiting or anything. He wanted to talk about Huntington High and how he could help his teammates get an opportunity. So we just got great young men at our school and very proud to be there.
So your weekends are already full. Fridays with the Highlanders, Saturday with the Volunteers, and you get to root Darnell on. So I'm sure that's just going to make your weekend even better for you.
I told him it's going to be a little difficult. You know, I'm a film junkie, so I'm going to be getting ready for whoever we play the following week, and I don't know how many games I'll make, but I'll definitely be watching on television as I watch all our guys and try to make it to as many games as possible to see all our former players. And we got a lot out there right now playing college football.
I'm thinking the Huntington High School Hall of Fame is coming soon with all these guys. Here in a few more years, you're going to have a nice little grouping of guys who have gone on to be successful.
Well, you look at it. We've been very fortunate in our young men. Number one are finishing college. That's the most important thing. And when they leave, they've got a degree in their hand. And one day football's over for all of them. And so, but that degree they can never take away from them. So really proud of all those young men that have in the past have went on to college, finished their degree, and the guys present and in the future and what they accomplish in the classroom and on the field.
Congratulations. I know it's an exciting day for you, and it will continue to be for many weeks to come. Thanks for spending some time with me today, Billy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
It's Billy Seals, head coach of the Huntington Highlanders. Signing day today for Huntington. A lot of kids going to continue their career next level, and of course, we'll continue breaking this one down tomorrow for Marshall as the Thundering Herd with their signing class. We'll spend the next couple of days evaluating it, breaking it down, looking at these kids, telling you more about them as we learn about them as well. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. I want to thank my producer, Gabriel Sellards. Special thanks to Jason Toy as well. For those gentlemen, I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Back tomorrow, we've got Marshall basketball as well, so we'll get you set. For the Thundering Herd, they're on the road. Yeah, they're in Texas. We'll talk about that and more tomorrow on The Drive. ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
W227BS Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.